Even though Blumhouse is arguably the most popular horror studio in the world, it is having a very disappointing year at the box office. So far this year, Blumhouse has released 4 movies in theaters, these being Wolfman, The Woman in the Yard, Drop, and M3 GAN 2.0. While The Woman in the Yard and Drop are 2 original stories, Wolfman is based on a well-known monster, and the recently released M3 GAN 2.0 is the sequel to a very popular horror movie from 2022. Therefore, both of these films potentially could have found an audience. Unfortunately, reviews for M3 GAN 2.0 have been underwhelming, and it also hasn't performed well at the box office. This puts Blumhouse's disappointing year in the spotlight. Since its inception, Blumhouse has released some amazing horror movies, such as Insidious, Get Out, The Invisible Man, and many more. Blumhouse is undoubtedly one of the top horror studios in the world, and many of its critically and commercially successful releases have helped it garner a fan base over the years. In the age of streaming, it's hard to get people into theater seats since most movies come out on digital only a few weeks after their theatrical release. However, the performances of the 4 Blumhouse movies that have been released this year prove that this fan base isn't as loyal as it once was. It should be noted that this is an issue for other studios too, not just Blumhouse. For example, as was seen by this year's Snow White live-action remake, even a major studio like Disney can't always rely on its fan base. In the age of streaming, it's hard to get people into theater seats since most movies come out on digital only a few weeks after their theatrical release. Therefore, based on the box office earnings for the 4 2025 Blumhouse movies, it's clear that the studio needs to do more to convince audiences to watch films in theaters. Before people decide to watch a movie in theaters, they typically look at reviews. Therefore, it's obviously a problem that 3 out of the 4 Blumhouse movies this year have received poor reviews. As seen in the table below, out of all the studio's films in 2025, Drop is actually the only that has a fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Drop is actually a very original and entertaining horror thriller movie, but the same can't be said for Blumhouse's other releases this year. While M3 GAN 2.0 might entertain, this was a bold move by Blumhouse, but it unfortunately doesn't seem like it has paid off. Meanwhile, Wolfman and The Woman in the Yard, which have the 2 lowest Rotten Tomatoes scores of the group, have both been called boring and underwhelming by horror fans. Therefore, it's clear that Blumhouse needs to release higher quality movies more consistently if it wants to perform better at the box office. Thankfully, Blumhouse founder Jason Blum has admitted that the studio has underperformed at the box office this year. Addressing M3 GAN 2.0's disappointing box office haul, Blum admitted that he and other creatives at the studio thought the character would resonate with audiences no matter what direction they took the sequel's story in. He said, "We all thought Megan was like Superman. We could do anything to her. We could change genres. We could put her in the summer. We could make her look different. We could turn her from a bad guy into a good guy. And we classically overthought how powerful people's engagement was with her." Interestingly, Blum also revealed that he addressed Blumhouse employees to acknowledge that the studio is in a slump after the release of M3 GAN 2.0. He continued, "I said to Blumhouse employees this morning that if you look at any massive talent, whether they are a movie star, or whether they are a production company, or whether they are a studio, every one of your favorite people have gone through slumps. And that applies to Blumhouse too. Therefore, even though every Blumhouse movie to come out this year has performed poorly at the box office, it's good to hear that Blum is addressing this problem." Blum acknowledging the studio's mistakes suggests he will work hard to figure out a solution, which means Blumhouse could make a comeback in the very near future. Thankfully, Blumhouse is releasing 2 movies later this year that could both be major hits. Firstly, the upcoming Black Phone 2 will hit theaters on October 17th, 2025. The sequel will see Ethan Hawke return as the Grabber 4 years after the first movie was a major critical and commercial success, making $161 million at the box office. Then, to close out the year, the highly anticipated Five Nights at Freddy's 2 will release on December 5th, 2025. Despite many negative reviews, The first Five Nights at Freddy's film grossed $291 million at the worldwide box office, becoming the highest-grossing movie in Blumhouse's history. Therefore, even though Blumhouse has struggled in the first half of the year, it's a safe bet that both Black Phone 2 and Five Nights at Freddy's 2 will help the studio make a major comeback. Because of these two major releases, I don't think there's any reason for anyone at Blumhouse to worry that much about the future of the studio.